How did a little island in the Caribbean end up creating the blueprint for American hip-hop? It all started with a few overlooked songs and a guy talking over the beat. We are revealing the exact track that kicked it all off, and the story behind it is crazier than you can imagine. 1. Guns of Navarone by the Skata Lights. Before there was reggae, the sound that ruled Jamaica was a fast, upbeat music called ska. It was exciting, full of powerful horns, and it made everyone want to dance. The undisputed kings of this sound were a group of amazing musicians called the Skata Lights. Truth be told, they were the all-star team that played on almost every hit record of the era. In 1965, they released an instrumental track called Guns of Navarone. Now, an instrumental is just music with no singing. But this song did all the talking. It had a driving bass line, a super catchy horn melody, and an energy that felt completely new. It was a cover of a movie theme song, but they made it totally their own. The song was a massive hit in Jamaica, and even became a top 40 hit in the United Kingdom. This was a huge deal because it showed the whole world that Jamaican music was something special. It proved that a band from a small island could create a sound that people everywhere would love. It was like a declaration that Jamaican music was on the map. This fast-paced ska music was king for a while, but Jamaica was about to experience a long, hot summer that would slow the beat down and change everything. One musician would even create a song that would name the new style and define it for everyone. 2. Rock Steady by Alton Ellis. Picture this. It is the summer of 1966 in Jamaica, and it is incredibly hot. The fast dancing of ska was just too much work in that kind of heat. People wanted to chill out and cool down. The musicians felt it too. The beat started to slow way down, becoming cooler and more relaxed. This new sound needed a name, and a singer known as the godfather of rocksteady, Alton Ellis, was the man to give it one. Alton Ellis released a song called, you guessed it, Rock Steady. The song itself was basically an invitation to do the new dance that everyone was starting to do. The lyrics were simple, telling people to forget their troubles and just rock steady. The music was so much smoother than ska. The frantic horns were replaced by a laid-back groove, and the bass line became the most important part of the song. It was a sound you could sway to, not just jump around to. This song was like a big signpost, pointing the way for all of Jamaican music to follow. It officially kicked off the era of rocksteady, a slower, more soulful sound that focused on smooth vocals and heavy bass. It was the perfect bridge between the speed of ska and the slow heartbeat of the music that was just around the corner. But this new rocksteady beat had to travel, and one song would put it on a train for the whole world to hear. 3. Train to Skaville by the Ethiopians. The rocksteady sound was taking over Jamaica, but how do you get a brand new style of music to the rest of the world? You put it on a train. That is exactly what a vocal group called the Ethiopians did with their 1967 hit, Train to Skaville. This song is a perfect example of the switch from the old sound to the new one, and it is a ride you will never forget. The title itself is a little confusing. It says Skaville, which was the land of ska, but the beat is pure rocksteady. This just shows how new the style was at the time. People were still figuring out what to even call it. The song has a chugging rhythm that sounds just like a train rolling down the tracks. The singers shout choo-choo and call out for passengers to climb aboard for a musical journey. It was fun, super catchy, and easy to dance to. The vocal harmonies were tight, and the feeling of the song was pure joy. Here is the kicker. Train to Skaville became a big hit in the United Kingdom. For many people outside of Jamaica, this was one of the very first times they heard this new, slower beat. It helped spread the rocksteady sound internationally, getting people everywhere ready for the next evolution in Jamaican music. The train had left the station, and it was heading straight for a new destination, a place where a single word in a song title would give a name to an entire genre. 4. Do the Reggae by Toots and the Maytals. How does a whole style of music get its name? Sometimes it happens by complete accident. In 1968, the rocksteady sound was starting to morph into something else. It was chunkier, choppier, and had a different kind of bounce. A name was needed, and the legendary singer Frederick Toots Hibbert from the group Toots and the Maytals was about to provide it. They released a song called Do the Reggae. The song was an upbeat dance craze track calling on people to do the reggae. Toots later explained that reggae was just a slang word for regular, used to describe everyday people. He was just saying, let's do a dance for the regular people. He had no idea he was naming a global phenomenon. The song itself has that signature new beat, a scratchy guitar rhythm that was different from the smooth sound of rocksteady. This song is unbelievably important. It is widely credited as the first popular song to use the word reggae, even if it was spelled a little differently. It gave a name to the music that was about to take over the world. It was a simple dance tune that accidentally christened a revolution. While this song gave the music its name, another track was busy telling the stories of the rebellious youths who lived on the streets. 5. Rudy, A Message to You by Dandy Livingstone. Every music scene has its rebels, the cool kids who live by their own rules. In 1960s Jamaica, they were called Rude Boys. They dressed sharp, had a bit of an attitude, and were often associated with the tough life in the city. A musician and producer named Dandy Livingstone decided to write a song that was not just about them, but was a message for them. His 1967 song, Rudy, A Message to You, became a huge anthem. Unlike other songs that just described the rude boy lifestyle, this one was a warning. Over a classic, moody, rocksteady beat, Dandy sings directly to the Rudies, telling them to stop your messing around before they get into serious trouble. The horn melody is unforgettable and has a sad, thoughtful quality to it. Believe it or not, this song became a hit in the United Kingdom and was later made even more famous by the British band The Specials. Its importance comes from its direct social commentary. It was a song from within the culture, speaking to its own youth. It showed that reggae's parent, rocksteady, could be a tool for guidance and a voice of reason, not just for fun. But soon, the most powerful voice in the music would not be a singer at all, but the person you could not even see. 6. Return of Django by the Upsetters. What if the most important person in the band was not the singer, but the guy behind the mixing board? In Jamaica, the music producers started to become a star in their own right. And nobody was a bigger star or a bigger genius than the man known as Lee Scratch Perry. In 1969, he and his studio band, the Upsetters, released an instrumental called Return of Django. The song sounds like the theme to a wild western movie that got lost and ended up in the Caribbean. It has a funky organ riff that you cannot get out of your head, a twangy guitar, and a beat that just gallops along. The title is a nod to a popular Italian Western film called Django. There is no singing at all, but the song tells a whole story. It is tough, cool, and a little bit weird, just like Lee Perry himself. Here is the deal. This strange little instrumental became another surprise hit in the United Kingdom. It made Lee Scratch Perry a famous name. It was a huge step in making the producer the creative force behind the music. He was not just recording the band, he was creating the entire sound. He was the true artist. This idea would change everything in reggae and would lead directly to producers taking sounds apart and putting them back together in ways no one had ever imagined. And soon, they would be adding a whole new kind of vocal performance over the top. 7. Fat Man by Derrick Morgan. Before there were rappers, There were Jamaican DJs, or toasters. These were the guys at the parties who would grab a microphone and talk or chant over the instrumental versions of popular songs. This was called toasting, and it was the very beginning of what would eventually become hip-hop. One of the very first people to do this on a record was a ska legend named Rick Morgan. In the late 1960s, he released a song called Fat Man. The song itself is simple. Over a raw, early reggae beat, Derek Morgan just talks in a rhythmic way. He is not really singing, he is just telling a story with swagger and style. He introduces himself and boasts a little, which would become a trademark of this new DJ style. It was raw, it was live, and it felt completely fresh. This song is so important because it is one of the very first examples of toasting ever put on a record. While other artists would make this style famous around the world later on, Fat Man was there at the very beginning. It laid the foundation for every DJ and rapper who came after. It was an underrated first step in a journey that would see the DJ become the biggest star in Jamaican music. But this new style was not just for boasting, it could also be used to fight spiritual battles. 8. I Chase the Devil by Max Romeo.
For son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of...
Some reggae songs are about love, and some are about dancing. But another powerful side of the music has always been about spirituality and fighting against dark forces. In 1976, a singer named Max Romeo teamed up with the legendary producer Lee Scratch Perry to create a masterpiece of this style. The song was called I Chase the Devil. The song is built on one of the heaviest, most hypnotic bass lines you will ever hear. It has a spooky, echoing sound that feels like you are in a deep, dark cave. Max Romeo's voice cuts through the music as he sings about sending evil forces away. He declares he is going to put on an iron shirt and chase the devil out of earth. The lyrics are powerful and full of imagery from the Rastafarian faith. The production by Lee Scratch Perry is what makes it an all-time classic. He used his studio as an instrument, adding strange sound effects and a feeling of deep space to the track. This song became a roots reggae anthem, a perfect example of how the music could be both spiritual and tough at the same time. Its influence is huge. Believe it or not, that iconic beat has been sampled, meaning reused, by countless hip-hop and electronic artists, proving that its power is timeless. But Perry was not just creating spooky sounds. He and another genius were about to invent a whole new kind of music by taking songs like this one apart, piece by piece. 9. King Tubby Meets Rockers Uptown by Augustus Pablo. What if you took a song, removed most of the singing, and just focused on the drum and bass? What if you then added crazy sound effects like echoes that bounce around and reverbs that make it sound huge, making the music sound like it was coming from another planet? This was the revolutionary idea behind a new genre called dub music, and its king was a producer and sound engineer named King Tubby. In 1976, King Tubby took a song by a musician named Augustus Pablo and worked his magic on it. The result was King Tubby Meets Rockers Uptown. This track is not just a song, it is an experience. The original melody, played by Augustus Pablo on a melodica, which is like a keyboard you blow into, fades in and out of the mix. The drums hit hard and then suddenly vanish into a long, trailing echo. The bass line is deep and powerful, becoming the star of the show. This was mind-blowing at the time. King Tubby was essentially remixing music before anyone else was. He was using the mixing desk like a painter uses a canvas, creating a whole new piece of art from an existing one. This track is considered one of the greatest dub tracks of all time. It changed the way people thought about music production and influenced everything from hip-hop to electronic dance music. The producer was now a true artist, but some artists were more focused on sending a message from the history books. 10. Marcus Garvey by Burning Spear. Reggae music quickly became a powerful tool for teaching history and spreading messages of Black pride. One of the most important figures in this movement was a man named Marcus Garvey, a Jamaican leader who spoke about empowerment and his philosophies. An artist named Winston Rodney, better known as Burning Spear, made it his life's mission to spread Garvey's message through music. His 1975 song, also called Marcus Garvey, is one of the most important anthems in all of roots reggae. The song has a marching, hypnotic rhythm with a powerful horn section that sounds like a royal announcement. Burning Spear's voice is almost like a chant as he sings about Garvey, asking if anyone remembers the words of this great leader. He sings with a deep passion that makes you feel the importance of his message. This song did something incredible. It took the teachings of a historical figure and turned them into a popular song that was played on the radio and at dances. It cemented roots reggae's role as a vehicle for raising consciousness and for education. It inspired a whole generation of Jamaicans to learn about their history and feel proud of their heritage. The song showed that reggae could be more than just entertainment. It could be a source of knowledge and strength. And sometimes, that knowledge felt like a look into the future. 11. Jah Kingdom by Burning Spear. Burning Spear was not just a singer, he was a teacher and a historian. While his song Marcus Garvey became a well-known anthem, some of his other tracks carried messages that were just as deep but did not get the same amount of attention. One of these hidden gems is the song Jah Kingdom from his legendary 1976 album, Man in the Hills. This song is pure, deep roots reggae. The music has a slow, heavy, and meditative groove. The bass line is thick and heavy, and the drums are steady like a heartbeat. Over this foundation, Burning Spear's unique, chanting voice delivers a spiritual message. He sings about building a new world, a Jah Kingdom, based on principles of peace, love, and justice. The song is not a party track. It is a piece of music to think to. It is meant to uplift your spirit. What makes Jah Kingdom so important is that it represents the heart and soul of conscious reggae music. It is not trying to be a commercial hit. It is focused entirely on its spiritual and political message. It is a perfect example of how reggae could be used as a form of prayer and a call for a better world. It's an underrated masterpiece that shows the true depth of the genre. And this spiritual depth could be found in many languages, not just English. 12. Sata Masagana by the Abyssine Eons. Sometimes a song is so powerful that it does not matter if you understand the words. The feeling says everything. That is the case with Sata Masagana, a deeply spiritual song by the vocal trio, the Abyssine Eons. The title and many of the lyrics are in Amharic, the language of Ethiopia, which is a spiritually important place for Rastafarians. Sata Masagana translates to give thanks. The song was actually recorded way back in 1969, but it took years for it to be released and become popular. The music itself feels ancient and holy. The minor key horn melody is hauntingly beautiful. The vocal harmonies of the Abyssinians are some of the most beautiful in reggae history. When they sing, it sounds less like a pop song and more like a prayer. The rhythm is a slow, meditative stepper's beat that feels like a spiritual journey. This song became one of the most important anthems of the Rastafari movement. It was played in religious gatherings and on the radio constantly. What makes it so special is that it introduced Amharic lyrics and a deeply reverent tone into popular music. It proved that reggae could be a form of worship and that a song did not need to be a commercial hit to have a massive, lasting impact on the culture. The song's unique vibe would influence countless other artists, including one with a voice so unique it sounded like it came from another planet. 13. Skylarking by Horace Undie. In reggae, having a unique voice can make you a legend, and few voices are as unique as the one belonging to Horace Undie. His high, haunting, and almost trembling vocal style is instantly recognizable. He sounds like absolutely nobody else. In 1972, he released a song that would become his signature tune, a gentle but powerful warning to the youth called skylarking. Skylarking is a Jamaican term for messing around or goofing off when you should be doing something productive. In the song, Horace Andy sings to the young people who are skipping school and getting into trouble on the streets. He tells them they cannot be skylarking forever, and that one day they will have to face the consequences of their actions. It is a song with a serious message of social commentary, but it is delivered in a surprisingly gentle and beautiful way. The music is smooth and soulful, with a memorable flute melody floating on top. But it is Horace's incredible voice that makes the song a classic. It carries so much emotion and sincerity. Skylarking established Horace Andy as a major voice in reggae and became an anthem for social consciousness. It is a perfect example of a message music song, using a sweet melody to deliver a tough lesson. It showed that you did not have to shout to be heard. And this idea of message music would soon be picked up by another singer who would write about the tension between the people and the law. 14. Police, Thieves by Junior Mervin. Sometimes a song perfectly captures a moment in time, a feeling in the air. In the mid-1970s, there was a lot of tension and turmoil in Jamaica. A singer named Junior Mervin wrote a song about what he was seeing on the streets, and with the help of producer Lee Scratch Perry, he created an immortal classic. The song was Police, Thieves. The song describes street battles between law enforcement and the people of the community. What makes it so amazing is Junior Mervin's incredible falsetto voice, a singing style that is very high-pitched. He sounds almost like an angel singing about a very troubled world. The music created by Perry is sparse and eerie. It has a creeping bass line and echoing guitar sounds that create a feeling of suspense and drama. Here is where the story gets even cooler. This song about trouble in Kingston, Jamaica, traveled across the ocean and became a huge anthem for the punk rock movement in London. Bands like The Clash loved the song's raw energy and rebellious spirit so much that they recorded their own version of it. Police, Thieves built a bridge between two very different music scenes, reggae and punk, showing that they shared a common feeling of fighting against the system. A song from one small island was now the soundtrack for rebellion thousands of miles away. But not every song was about trouble. Some were about finding joy in the simple things. 15. Tenement Yard by Jacob Miller. While some songs talked about the big issues facing the world, others celebrated everyday life in Jamaica. Jacob Miller was a singer with a big personality and an even bigger voice. He was the lead singer for the band Inner Circle, and together they made music that was full of joy and positive energy. Their 1976 hit Tenement Yard is a perfect example of this. A tenement yard is a type of housing in Jamaica where many families live together in one shared compound. It is a place full of life, drama, community, and connection. In the song, Jacob Miller sings about the different characters and situations you might find there. He warns against gossip and causing trouble, saying that if you do, you might get chased out of the yard. It is a slice-of-life song that painted a vivid picture of a real Jamaican community. The song is incredibly upbeat and fun. It has a catchy chorus and a rocking beat that makes you want to get up and dance. Jacob Miller's charismatic performance is full of whoops and hollers. Tenement Yard was a massive hit because it was relatable. It celebrated the good and the bad of community, living with humor and heart. It showed that reggae could be a mirror, reflecting the real lives of the people who listened to it. As the music moved into a new decade, the focus would shift from the community yard to the dance hall. 16. World of Music by Eni Kamoze. As reggae moved from the 1970s into the 1980s, the sound started to change. The classic roots reggae sound was evolving into something new, a style that would soon be called dancehall. One of the key songs from this important transitional period was World of Music by a young artist named Eni Kamoze. Released in 1984, this song is built on a simple but incredibly effective rhythm. The beat is a bit tougher and more stripped down than the lush sounds of 70s roots reggae. Ini Kamoze's vocal style is also different. It is a unique mix of singing and chanting, a style that was becoming very popular in the dance halls. In the song, he sings about how music is everywhere in the world, in the sounds of nature and the city. This song is hugely important for two big reasons. First, it was a perfect example of the new, harder-edge sound that was taking over reggae. But second, and even more important, is its amazing legacy. Years later, Ini Kamoze's own nephew, the superstar Damien Jr. Gong Marley, would take the beat from world of music and use it as the foundation for his own monster hit. Welcome to Jamrock. It showed how reggae was constantly recycling and reinventing its own history, with one generation building on the sounds of the one before it. A new generation was taking over, and one of its kings was a man with a very colorful name. 17. Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt by Yellow Man. The new era of dancehall music was all about the DJ. And the biggest DJ of the early 1980s was a man who called himself King Yellow Man. He was famous for his hilarious, clever, and sometimes boastful lyrics. He had an incredible talent for entertaining the crowd. While he had many famous hits, one of his most underrated and influential tracks was the 1984 song Nobody Move, Nobody Get Hurt. The song is pure storytelling. Yellow Man takes on the character of a bank robber, but he does it with so much humor and charm that it is more funny than scary. He tells the story of robbing a bank and a bus, all with his signature smooth flow and clever rhymes. It showed that dancehall DJs could be master storytellers, not just hype men. This song was a game changer because it pushed the boundaries of what a DJ could talk about. It was like a short, funny action movie set to a hard dancehall beat. It influenced a whole generation of DJs to use more narrative and storytelling in their lyrics. It was a perfect example of Yellow Man's creative genius, a track that was both tough and funny at the same time. But while Yellow Man was telling stories, another young star was about to make a different kind of statement. 18. Roll Call by Tenor Saw. In the mid-1980s, dancehall music was getting faster, more energetic, and more intense. The sound was all about competition, with DJs and singers battling to see who had the best lyrics and the most powerful voice. A young singer named Tenor Saw came onto the scene with a voice that was pure fire and a style that was completely his own. While his song Ring the Alarm became a massive anthem, another track called Roll Call shows just how innovative he was. Released in 1985, Roll Call is a masterpiece of the Sing-J style. This is a vocal style that is a perfect mix of singing melodies and DJing rhymes. Tenor Saw was a master of it. In the song, he calls out the names of all the big artists in the dancehall scene at the time, like a teacher taking attendance. It was a sign of respect, but it was also a clever way of putting his own name right alongside the biggest stars. The song is important because it perfectly captures the spirit of the dancehall community. It was all about knowing who was who and respecting the talent around you. Tenor Saw's incredible vocal performance, jumping from smooth singing to rapid-fire chatting, was a huge influence on the generation of artists that followed. It's a hidden gem that showcases the skill and energy of a true legend, and this energy was about to find its female counterpart in a big way. 19. Bam Bam by Sister Nancy. For a long time, the world of reggae and dancehall was mostly dominated by male artists. But there were powerful female voices who broke through and made their mark in a huge way. One of the most important was a DJ named Sister Nancy. In 1982, she recorded a song called Bam Bam that would slowly, over many years, become one of the most famous and most sampled reggae songs of all time. When it first came out, Bam Bam was not a huge hit. it was just a track on her album. The song features Sister Nancy chanting in her unique style over a classic dancehall rhythm. Her lyrics are all about her being a strong, talented woman in a male-dominated business. She sings, "I'm a lady, I'm not a man," proudly declaring her place in the music world. Here is the unbelievable part. For years, the song was a hidden gem, known only by hardcore reggae fans. Then, in the 1990s and 2000s, hip-hop and R&B producers discovered it. They started sampling her powerful voice and the famous Bam Bam chorus. It has appeared in huge hit songs by superstars like Kanye West and Jay-Z. The song became far more famous decades after it was made. It made Sister Nancy a legend and gave the world an unforgettable female anthem that proved talent has no gender. But one final revolution was on the horizon, one that would be started not by a person, but by a machine. 20. Pass the Tu Sheng Peng by Frankie Paul. The mid-1980s saw a massive change in how reggae music was made. Live bands were being replaced by keyboards and drum machines. This new, fully digital sound was called Reggae. While one famous digital beat, the Sleng Teng, often gets all the credit for starting this revolution, there were other hugely important tracks that pushed the new sound forward. One of the best was Pass the Tu Sheng Peng by the singer Frankie Paul. Released in 1984, the song is a classic dancehall theme, but the music behind it was futuristic. The beat is heavy, electronic, and has a raw digital edge. It was produced by another legend, King Jammy, the same person behind the Sleng Teng rhythm. Frankie Paul's powerful, soulful voice sounded amazing over this new, hard-hitting electronic track. This song is a crucial yet underrated piece of the digital puzzle. It was one of the first big hits of the Reggae era and helped to make the new electronic sound popular in the dance halls. It proved that the digital sound was not just a gimmick, but the future of Jamaican music. It helped solidify the shift away from live instruments and pave the way for the sound of modern dancehall, a sound that would go on to influence pop music all over the globe.